Hey, we back, everybody. Welcome back to the Conversations with Cogee show. Title of the show today, I've been falsely accused, part 10. Now, we done had time to marinate on a story that just left a minute ago in the first hour. And let me tell you something. I mean, we've been sitting here talking about it in the studio, and everybody's still shaking their head. Can't nobody believe it. So I know to all my listeners out there, this is a crazy game, this game called life. You know what I'm saying? I mean it, because you just never know what'll happen at any moment. And the thing about it is, something can just shake your life up so bad, you know what I'm saying, that you didn't even intend to happen, but it can slip up and happen to you even when you're in the right. It just depends on who's judging the situation. And it's just sad that, you know, I always say that this ain't one man's world to judge anybody. This is everybody's world. When we have people that feel like they just run the world and judge the world, no, this is everybody's world. And that's why I do these shows, because everybody has a say so, but you know, everybody is innocent until proven guilty. I just think that when we ignore the posts that I put out, when we don't respond to these shows, I always say to myself, I just really pray to God that this same show won't be a vehicle that you will need down the road, and you overlooked this whole situation, the posts I put out, you know, calling into the show. I just saying, man, God bless these people that's going through this stuff. You know, even if you call in with something nice to say, you know what I'm saying? But the thing about it is, like I said, I don't do the show for ratings. I do it for love. I don't worry about phone calls, because I got a gang of people on the phone right now and right here in the studio with me that love me, and we riding hard. You know what I'm saying? For our community. But the thing about it is, don't never get on this high horse that it could never happen to me. It could never happen to my family. It could never happen to my husband, my wife, my children. No. Let me tell you something. Life is tricky. Life is tricky. And sometimes you can see, you know what? Here, let me give you a quick example. You can see somebody pulled over with a flat. You pull over to help this person. Police come up. You don't know that this person just robbed something. And you just pulled over to help that person, but they said it was two people that robbed something, and those two individuals split up, and you just happened to pull over to help the one that was standing there, you know, trying to pull over because he had a flat, and you thought this person needed help, and then the police ride up, and it's two of y'all. Now you caught up in the twist, and you didn't have nothing to do. All you was trying to do was be nice and help somebody. That was just something I want to say, that's how things can happen that easy. And I pray to God it don't happen to nobody. But I also pray to God that we help the ones who really are innocent and going through it. We really step out of our comfort zone, step out of not believing what's really happening, and believe that it is really happening. When y'all hear these shows and see my posts and see the news, man, let me tell you something. Stuff is real. Stuff is real. This ain't the movies. You know, at the end of this situation, you know, when the director say cut, they don't open them cell doors and let them people back out. When they say cut, those people don't get up off the ground and get back into their body and walk and go home and clean, you know, the fake blood and all that. No. You're done. With these shows, you're done. But the thing about it is, half of the people that are done are the people that don't fight. The people that give up. The people that don't rally for the underdogs, and the people who can't fight for themselves. Sometimes people are in jail and they so broken they can't even ask for help, because number one, they've been in there so long and they feel like don't nobody care, and they just gave up, but they really don't deserve to be there. That's what this show is about, everybody. So I definitely want y'all to stay locked in and tuned in. And I want y'all to know that, like I said, this show is a heartbeat. And it's all of our heartbeats. So have compassion for your fellow man. Our guest is waiting. She's on deck to come in. Her story is deep. She's going to talk to us about her son, you know, who was in a relationship with a young lady, and it wasn't in his favor. You know how women get mad sometimes and men get mad sometimes, and we might do something to an individual that we think, well, you know, I could take it back and it'll be over. But no. In some states, if it's a commonwealth, the commonwealth will pick it back up and bring it back into play. You can't always say you sorry. And that's what this hour was about. You can't come back and say, oh, my bad, I just was mad at you, I did this to you, I told somebody this about you. Because once it stick on somebody, you done destroyed their life. And I truly do believe in karma. And I done seen some of the people have some of the worstest luck just setting out to destroy somebody. So I just want y'all to think once, think twice. Y'all know I always say this on my show, think once, think twice. Because the life you might have to save one of these times, it just might be your own. Stay locked in and stay tuned in. I'll be back in with my team, and we gonna do God's work. We gonna do, and let me tell you this, the God I talk about is inside of yourself, and you have to use the power that's inside of you first to make sure that things change. All right? Everybody pray and they wait. No, God says, I help those who help themselves. Well, it's a lot of people who need the help. So let's help them to help themselves. All right? We'll be right back. Hey, we back, everybody. Welcome back to the Conversations with Cogee show. I've been falsely accused is the title today, part 10. We definitely coming strong, and I definitely want y'all to stay locked in for our third hour, where we got Mr. Jeffrey Deskovic is going to be in with me. He would have been in with me in these first 2 hours, but he had, some stuff to handle today with his organization. Hey, he's trying to free the world, you know what I'm saying, the innocent people. So, hey, much love to you, Jeffrey. We'll be waiting on you. But this is a good friend of Jeffrey's that's ready to come in right now. And she definitely, supports us on Facebook, and she definitely supports the show. But unfortunately, hey, she's in this position now, with her son. And, I just want to say to everybody out there, like I said, please don't never say this can't happen to me. Just say, I pray. And I put everything in my heart that this don't happen to my family in no kind of way. You know what I'm saying? Because like I told you, life is playing a dirty game right now, and people just don't care. People don't have morals right now when it comes to hurting other people. Their conscience seem to go out the window, and then when they feel like they done hit a certain something in their life where all of a sudden they feeling guilty and something stormed and hit their life, and now they feel like, oh, well, I want to make things right with people. What make things right the first time? Don't do what you done. Think once, think twice. If you mad, take a few minutes and think things out before you put things in motion, because when you put people's lives in jeopardy, you can't rewind it back. Sometimes you can't rewind it back. And to tell somebody you sorry and you done put them away in prison, please keep your apology and keep it moving. That's how I would feel, because we got nothing to say. You can't fix it. You cannot fix this. Because my family's name, everything's been at stake. You can't fix this. But you know what? Karma will make us even somewhere down the road. So, hey, have a nice day. And that's how I feel about it. Now, one thing I want to say before we go into, I'm ready to get my guests in right now. I want y'all to listen to this thoroughly. When my guests come on the show, please don't judge. Hear the story all the way out to the end of the show. And then you can make your own judgments, because you're free to do it anyway, But don't let a person get into their story and you I already know. Yeah, you did it. Come on. I can already tell you done it. Why can you tell? You ain't even heard the whole story. Let's show some love. Let's show some compassion. And let's definitely show that, hey, we are here to listen to you. We are here to listen. And that's all some people need sometimes, is for somebody just to listen to them. And that's what this show is. This show is a heartbeat to everybody who's going through a struggle. All right? So we're going to bring our guests in. I want to say hello to Miss MaryAnn. How you doing today, Miss MaryAnn?
Hi, thank you so much for having me on the show.
You know what? I want to thank you for turning to me and you coming on to this show. But I hate that we met under these circumstances. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I am too, but the good thing is that you're giving us a format to be able to hopefully open up the eyes of your listeners that this can happen to them at any time, and all it takes is somebody's word.
That's right.
To put you in prison for many years or life.
That's right. Now, before we do the story real quick, I just want to ask you some quick questions, and if you could just give me some quick answers real quick, and we're going to keep moving. How long have you been going through this situation right now?
We just started our 6th year on January 15th.
What has this done to you to taint you with the justice system?
Well, it's tainted me extremely with the justice system. I've come to learn how many people are wrongfully convicted and how hard it is, once you're convicted, to prove your innocence, how long it takes to do it, and it's just it's been an eye-opener that I wish I never had this journey.
What has this done to your family structure?
Well, we've all been scarred by this. There's, not a day or a holiday or an event that goes by that we don't have our son not with us for something that he did not do. It's visits or he can't see his nieces and nephews, and 5 years have gone up, or his one nephew just turned 10. He hasn't seen him since he was 5. He's lost 5 years of everyone's lives. It's had a huge effect on us, both financially and emotionally.
Right. But most of all, what has this done to a mother who sees their baby? No matter how old he is, he's still your baby. When you see your baby go through this, what does it do to you as a mom?
It's torn my heart apart. There isn't a visit that I leave that I don't sit in the parking lot at that prison and cry and wonder why. Right. When will this end? When will he be home? How can we, rectify this? This never happened. I mean, it's, I'm looking right now at my dresser where there's cutout flowers that he sent me for Mother's Day, and it's, it's those little things that I have to hang on to because I only get to see him twice a month, and we hang on to each other the best we can till our next visit.
Right.
We've lost family members have passed away since he's been gone, and for a while there I was very, very sick, and things were kind of iffy with my health, which caused him great concern, which caused me great concern.
Right.
Praise God, I'm much healthier now. But these things weigh on you.
That's right.
They make you older. They stress causes health issues.
That's
and,
right.
Financial problems causes, issues in the family. And, I'm so thankful that I have a very strong and loving husband, and, we got a good family bond to help us through this. But more than anything, it's through the grace of God it's His strength that's helped us get through this.
I hear you. Now, I want to ask you this because I do know that this show, it really does steal your joy and your happiness away. Miss MaryAnn, when is the last time you've been truly happy?
I would say November of 2007, before this all started.
And that's my point. And that's why I do these shows. Because your joy, they done stole your joy.
Absolutely.
This whole situation has stole your joy. And that's why I do these shows, because I'm trying to help families overcome and trying to help you get your life back. Because the worst thing, God forbid, that anything happens to you and your son, does get out, but you never got to see this through. And that's
absolutely
right. And that's why this show means a lot to me, to get this word out here and to definitely touch the hearts of the people. And hopefully, if anybody's hearing, with the court system, I hope we touch one of their hearts, because all it takes is one good one inside to do good work, to be a voice of reason to a bunch of people that just feel like, no, this is just, it is what it is. If we can just have one person arguing our fight, sometimes that's all we need, because that helps catch fire to other ears, to bring justice. Do you get what I'm saying?
I do, and it's so hard because, I often say that this is like a slow death. When our son was first convicted, going in and having to pack up his whole home, put all his things in storage, and it's like a cancer without a cure, but people are sympathetic when it's an illness. When it's a wrongful conviction, we've been blessed. We have been blessed with, a great church family, great friends, everybody supporting us. But many that I talk to, their whole family turns on them. People don't understand. They automatically judge, and they don't know what the justice system does. They don't understand it, just like we didn't understand it until we went through this. And then we were just appalled that this is America, this is how this happens.
Yeah,
it's very, very sad, and we need to bring attention to this because, like you said, Cogee, this can happen at any moment.
Right.
With our son's case, it was just the word of somebody.
That's right.
There's no proof. It was just the word of somebody.
Right.
And he's serving 16 years in prison.
Wow. Well, let's do this, Miss MaryAnn. Go ahead and tell your story, and bring us up to speed. So how did this all start? And what happened with their confrontation, your son and his girlfriend or wife? Let's go to the confrontation and what got all this started, and then we'll move ahead quickly.
Well, this has been, it was a very difficult relationship from the beginning with my son and his wife. They separated in November of 2003, and in January of 2004 he filed for divorce, but she had refused to sign the divorce papers. Through these years up until Thanksgiving of 2007, their relationship was very back and forth as far as arguing over the kids, who was going to get custody, child support. It was just a constant battle. On the weekend prior, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, Mike had talked to his ex. It was still his wife at the time, but it was, in my mind, his ex-wife, about taking the kids for the weekend. And an argument started because she had shown Mike's son some type of video talking about, playing with themselves and how it was wrong and stuff. And Mike got very upset about that. Why did she show him this without consulting him first? Mm-hmm. And letting him see whatever it was that she was going to show him? Because Mike had custody of his son all during the summer, and all summer long his son kept talking about all these sexual innuendos. He had watched a VCR and, explained in detail what this movie was about. It was an adult film. And through the confidence that he had with his son, he promised his son not to tell his mom that his son had confided in him, but to never watch those things again, to, his son was talking about people passing out drunk and naked in the house, and, so on this particular note, we'll fast forward to, the Thanksgiving weekend. They had gotten into a disagreement about her showing his son this video, and, Mike had just had enough, and he told her, enough is enough. I've had it. Come Monday, I'm going to get custody of the kids. You're unfit to take care of them. So he had the children Saturday night till Sunday, and on Saturday there was my husband and I, our two other sons, Mike's girlfriend at the time, and his two children were all together for the evening, went out to dinner, had a great time. His girlfriend spent the entire weekend with Mike and the kids that weekend. And then on Sunday I went back to see the kids again. I live 30 miles away, but I went back down to see the kids, etc. When he took the kids home on Sunday evening, within 30 minutes, his ex-wife was calling and telling him, what did you do to our daughter? What did you do? And it was on speakerphone, and, the little girl kept saying, Daddy didn't touch me. And then Mommy said, well, if you don't tell me, you can get sick and die. And then the little girl said, okay, Daddy touched me. Well, the story, what the original allegation was, is that he rubbed up and down on her, front, back, everywhere, until he did his business all over her. Mm-hmm. She was taken to the hospital immediately, and they found absolutely nothing wrong. They found nothing on her. They had a SANE nurse. A SANE nurse is a sexual assault nurse examiner. And they did a sexual assault examination. They found nothing. She was happy, alert, didn't have any signs whatsoever of trauma, but due to the allegations, they had to turn it in to the police. Well, that from there on, it just went forward. They took her clothing and they did DNA testing. They did find a small amount of sperm on the outside of her underwear, but it doesn't match our son. On top of that, our son had a vasectomy and does not produce sperm. When we finally got to trial, the children said nobody was there all weekend. We were never there. There were so many inconsistency lies, but none of us were allowed to talk to the children from November of 2007 until January of 2009. So they had 14 months to be coerced on what to say in court. And the first day of court, the little girl could say nothing. Everything was, I don't know, I don't understand, what do you mean, I don't get it. And she'd look over at her dad and smile, like a loving smile, not a scared smile.
Mm-hmm.
The very next day when she came into court, she just, every question the DA asked her, she just batted off. Yep, no, yep, no. And it was obvious that she went home that night and was told what to say. Despite the fact that we had exculpatory DNA witness, during trial, the jurors were allowed to go outside and smoke with his ex-wife. They all ate in the same restaurant, one table away from each other. And when we were testifying, my husband and I and Mike, who was the girlfriend at the time, we had 3 jurors sleeping. So we filed immediately for a mistrial, and it was denied without a hearing. Now here we are 6 years, going into our 6 years later. He's still in prison, and we're still fighting for his innocence.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's deep. That's deep.
I mean, how do you go to prison when you have DNA that proves you didn't do it?
You know what? Let me ask you this, Miss MaryAnn. Where do you think the DNA came from? Was she in a relationship with somebody else?
She was in a relationship with someone else, and we did request that all parties be tested, and they said no, that it doesn't matter that the DNA doesn't match. How does it not matter? I don't understand how it doesn't matter. That's scientific proof.
Did you have a big attorney, or did you have a public defender? Not saying public defenders don't do their job. I'm just asking a question.
No, we had a privately paid attorney. But our privately paid attorney did not inform us until the Saturday prior to trial starting on Monday that he was not a criminal attorney, that he'd never done a jury trial before, and that this was his first case.
Oh, wow. So
at that point...
So your son was a test... Your son was a test case to see if he could do it or not.
Absolutely, yes.
But Miss MaryAnn, why you didn't fire him when you knew? I'm just asking you. I'm not coming at you, but I need our public to hear this knowledge that me and you both are giving right now. Why did you not fire him and tell the judge, and just get another attorney? Or you tell the judge, our attorney wasn't, ready for this kind of trial. We want to pass a motion to get another attorney, and we want to come in and do it again. Why you didn't do that?
We did talk about that evening and Sunday, but what the attorney kept drilling into our heads was, we have the proof of his innocence. They have to prove his guilt, and they can't do that because we have the proof of his innocence. So in our minds, being completely blind to any of this, our thoughts were, we just need an attorney in the courtroom to show the evidence of innocence, and all this will be thrown out, and we'll be done with it. So we were, if I had to give anyone advice on anyone that's being wrongfully accused of anything, it would be the very first thing you do is seek a very good criminal attorney and research that attorney. Check with the Bar Association. You can Google them online, see if there's any reports against them, because that's your first defense. And then after you hire that attorney, you better make sure that attorney works for you, because you are paying that attorney. Don't just take his word for it. If you want something, we had asked for many things from our attorney to do. We had over 35 character witnesses. We had 5 witnesses that were there at the time. We had the vasectomy report, the DNA report. We wanted him to do a criminal background check on her. We wanted him to check all of the records in the children's school to show that they were still normal and, prior to this, after this, etc. He kept telling us none of that was important because we had the DNA showing he was innocent on our side. Well, now in hindsight, we see all of that was very important. All of that would have bolstered our case.
Yeah.
So don't let an attorney tell you you don't need this. If you feel you need it, insist upon it. You're paying him. He's not paying you. You're paying him.
That's right. You know what, Miss MaryAnn, let me ask you this question also. Has your son had any problems in prison, because he's known as a pedophile, right?
Well, no, he hasn't, because two things. One, in our state, we don't have what's called segregated units. He's in general population. But the other thing is he doesn't talk about his charges. He just said that he's in there for aggravated assault.
Oh, okay.
You know, and that's to somewhat protect him. But there are, I'd say probably about 5 or 6 inmates that he's gotten close to over 5 years that he has told his story to. And as a matter of fact, there's even guards that have asked him, Mike, why are you here? You don't fit this mold. You know, you don't fit, you know, the mold of being a prisoner. I don't know what that mold is, but, you know, and he's just said it's because I'm innocent. I don't belong here.
Right.
But those that he has told have said there's absolutely no way. Knowing you, there's just in here, there's no way that you could ever do something like that.
Miss MaryAnn, and have you and his kid's mom, have y'all had a discussion? A one-on-one? If y'all if y'all have, what was that like? That discussion with you and her?
Oh no, she has threatened to turn me into the police and harboring a witness and, you know, stay away from the children, trying to coerce them. And so we've had no relationship with them since this began. We've talked to attorneys about our grandparents' rights, and we could sue for grandparents' rights. It costs us between $10,000 and $15,000, and that does not guarantee that she has to abide by it. So our thoughts were, you know, we need every penny we can to fight for our son, and we just put it in God's hands and hope someday that, you know, our grandchildren can come back to us and see the proof of innocence and know that this never happened.
You know what? What does this do to the state of the relationship with your son and his daughter, though? How are they relationship?
There isn't a relationship. There is none.
Right.
It's been severed. It's been severed since the day of the allegation. I mean, he's still, you know, he talks about the kids, and, you know, I wonder how they're getting, you know, how you know, how do they look? They're getting older. I'd love to see a picture, you know. I mean, he still loves and misses his children greatly.
Right.
He doesn't blame them at all. None of us blame the children. Right. You know, I mean, if they walked into my life tomorrow, I'd have open arms for them. This isn't their fault.
But what do you think made her do something that ruthless, that ruthless to him?
I think it's because he was going to go to CYS on Monday and turn her in for all of the things that he had heard over the summer about her sexual innuendos.
So she basically beat him to the punch.
She beat him to the punch. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, evilness is evil.
Oh, it's real.
It's very real, and it destroys lives. And I mean, you know, my son doesn't talk about her, but I do tell him, as twisted as this may sound, I do pray for her because she doesn't know any faith. She's never had a faith. And when you don't have a faith, you can do things like this without a conscience. You know, I pray that she finds faith sometime and she realizes what she's done and asks for forgiveness for everything.
It's just.
But people need to be aware. They need to know that this happens every single day.
Right. How did they come and pick him up? How did that ball get started? When she went and done that, how did they get him? Did they come to your house? How did he go to court? How did it happen? Because I always want people to hear, you know, how it happened. You know, did he get a phone call saying come to the courthouse?
Yes, he received a summons that he had to show up at the magistrate's office in February. So this happened in November, and it was actually, I believe it was Valentine's Day, February 14th of 2008, that was the hearing to go to the magistrate's office. Prior to that, no one ever spoke to him. No one ever spoke to us. No one ever spoke to his girlfriend. No one spoke to anybody besides his ex-wife. And he showed up at the magistrate's office. His ex showed up with his daughter. His daughter got on the stand. They showed a video where the CYS people had videoed his daughter, and the judge said that, It's not. It was compelling information to him, and that he was not going to say whether Mike was innocent or guilty, but that he was going to hold it over for trial. And so then he sent it to the higher court for it to be, to get a hearing date, which wasn't until January of 2009. But during that time, right after that, then the police came and searched his home, took videos of his home, pictures, measurements, everything, collected his DNA. But it took them from November to February until we went to the magistrate to do all this. They got the DNA back in June, where it showed that it wasn't a match to our son, but they still pursued this case.
Was he in jail during the whole time, or he was free?
No, he was free. On February 14th, when he went to the magistrate, he was held on $50,000 straight bond, and we bailed him out. And he was free until he was convicted on January 15th of 2009. And
even though he was free, he really wasn't free, not mentally dealing with a case like that.
No. That first Christmas was horrible because we'd all bought gifts for the kids already, and that Father's Day came, and just everything. That whole year of just not being with his kids was just horrendous. We all tried to be strong and tell each other, this is going to end a trial. You're innocent. We know it. We got the proof. Thank God. Don't worry. You're going to be coming home. We had complete belief that he would be coming home. But after a 4-day trial, it took the jury 10 minutes to come back with a guilty verdict. How can you deliberate in 10 minutes?
Wow. That's like you said, with her, conversing with them out of the courtroom, which that should never happen. That should be a dismissal right there altogether, just on that. You know
Absolutely.
what I'm saying? Wow. You know what? Let me do this. Let me go to my guests. Let me go to my team. Let me go to my freedom riders right now. What would y'all like to ask Miss MaryAnn? And can everybody please show respect when you come in and say hello? Foxy.
Hello, MaryAnn.
Hi, how are you?
I'm praying for you and your son and your whole family that he gets out of jail. But what is he doing while he's in jail? Is he going to the library? Is he educating himself so he can?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
He's gone to the library. He sends me case studies constantly. He's gotten very involved in this faith. He does everything he can to try to keep his mind busy. He works out, he studies, he goes to his religious classes, everything to try to keep him positive in his mind outside of the prison.
So if he's listed as a pedophile, how long would it take him to get off of that list when he's found innocent?
Well, once he's found innocent, his name should be removed immediately, from what I understand.
Yeah, but it don't always work out like that.
It doesn't.
No, because we didn't had many shows. This is our 10th show, and we heard that even though you get exonerated and you get out of it, they don't rush to take that off of you. They don't even rush to take that felony off of you. So you walking around exonerated, but you still known as a felon or as a sex offender.
Yep. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And how do you explain to people even, and I know Jeffrey has, spoke on this many a times about reintegration.
Yeah.
How do you get a job? How do you explain 6 years of non-employment?
That's right.
How do you do a background check and it comes back felony and you explain, well, no, I'm innocent? It destroys lives forever.
You know what, Jeffrey? I definitely want you to stay in. Jeffrey will be with us in the next hour. But now I want to go. Let me go to Miss Peaches, and then I'm coming around the board. Miss Peaches, what would you like to say to Miss MaryAnn?
Hi, MaryAnn. Thank you for sharing your family story, and I really pray for the best for you and your son and the entire family.
Well, thank you so much. Prayers are needed desperately. We know this is in God's hands.
It definitely is, and it's just, Cogee, again, this is your 10th show. I can't believe it. And every person that comes through our show just really touches my heart, and I can't even imagine, and what the depths of what they're going through. But what I wanted to ask you, MaryAnn, is I don't know if you have a relationship with his little girl. Is she getting any type of help or?
I don't have a relationship. We don't know if they've gotten any type of counseling. You know, if they've had anything. We have no idea. We did, you know, for a while I did try reaching out to the children and was sending them cards and gifts and things, and then I was threatened by her mother that if I continued, that she'd already contacted the cops and the prosecutor, and that if I continued, she'd have me prosecuted. And, you know, we just can't take the chance of that happening. We know it happened once, so we backed off.
I understand. I really understand. I can imagine that the little girl, I'm sure she's gone through a lot in her own mental state.
It's a shame. It's a shame. No one's thinking about what these children are going through.
Right.
You're right about that. Thank you, Miss Peaches.
Thank you.
V, chime in.
Miss MaryAnn, first I want to say hi, and I'm praying for you and your son and your family, and just that God opens doors that no man can close.
Thank you.
You're welcome. What are visits like, kind of from start to finish? And how long do you get with him? I mean, a lot of people don't understand that even though you visit him twice a month, and that's all you get to see him. What those visits are even like.
Well, our son and I, my husband and I, we really try to find the blessings in the storm. And one of the things that, my son and I both agree upon is we do get, he can have up to 8 visits a month. However, he's an hour and a half from us, and we can only afford right now 2 visits to go see him. But that leaves 6 visits open for other people. But when we do go up, we're there for about 5 hours, and it's just constant one-on-one communication between him and I and, his dad. We just sit there and we just talk and talk and talk. We eat food from the vending machine. We study, have religious studies together, play cards. And like we said, this is 10 hours a month that is complete one-on-one without any distractions that we wouldn't have if he was outside. And we cherish that time. We just absolutely cherish it because it is so special. And what he says is that 5 hours that we're there takes him completely out of the prison mentally.
Yeah.
It's like he's home and we're sitting there and we're having a snack and, we're talking about our faith and, the family life, and he's completely removed from that prison setting when we're visiting.
Right, you definitely right.
So
about
that is one of the blessings that we thank God for, is this time that we have together.
That's right. So Miss MaryAnn,
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, V.
Oh, I just said thank you, Miss MaryAnn.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right, thank you. So Miss MaryAnn, what can we all do? What can all the listeners do to support you and your family through this situation?
To support us personally, the first thing and above all, I would ask for continued prayers for our son Mike. He has a hearing coming up on March 17th. This is called an evidentiary hearing, asking for a whole new trial. And we just, we lift this up to God, and we're just praying that he whether gets a whole new trial or he's is exonerated. Mm-hmm. If they would like to help financially, he has a website at www.justiceformike.net, and there's a donation page where they can donate through PayPal to help us cover the expenses. We're still paying attorneys, and we have depleted everything that we have financially. We've done fundraisers. I think we've done 5 or 6. Cashed out our 401ks, everything that we've had. So, now everything is living payday to payday because we've exhausted all of our financial future fighting this.
Right.
So that's another way that they can help. And the third thing that they can do is to, not turn a blind eye to this subject, to realize that there are thousands of men and women wrongfully convicted in prison, and that when they first see this on the news, not to judge so quickly. And if they are called for jury duty, to understand that there are two sides to every story and to listen intently to what's going on. Don't fall asleep if you're in jury duty.
That's right.
I mean, come on, this is an important issue.
Yeah, this is a life.
Yes.
That's right.
Exactly. You sent our son away for 16 years and you were sleeping. Be attentive. Understand what's going on in the courtroom.
But you know what, Miss? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Miss MaryAnn.
Those are some of the things that, we would like.
Miss MaryAnn, I want to do this real quick. We down to short time, but you're going to stay on. I want you to stay on so we can talk to Jeffrey, all of us as a family and as a team. But what I just want you to talk to the parents right now and help them understand when their children are out deliberately doing wild things and put the parents under that much stress with the court system. And a lot of parents do step up to get their children out of trouble, and they put their whole life earnings up. So even after that case is over, their parents are always back to one, like they never worked for 40 or 50 years. What kind of strain is that on a parent?
I mean, it's a concern constantly. We're in our late 50s. What are we going to be doing? Are we going to be working till we're 80? We don't have anything left. Everything that we had, saved, our golden nest egg for the future, is gone. This is devastating. We try not to think about what's down the road. We try to just think about what is today.
That's right.
Because if we think down the road, it's just too much. We just can't do it. It would be too overwhelming to deal with.
That's right. You definitely right about that. You're definitely right about that. But that's why I wanted you to say that to the parents that are putting all their money up instead of letting them children deal with that situation they put themselves in. A lot of parents are losing everything, and now they even needing government help when they were in a great position. They had, the 401k. They had everything lined up to start having to start enjoying a great life, and now they back in poverty when they fought their way out of it. So,
well, our sons know absolutely 100%. If you did this, we will visit you, and we will, be there for you. We will continue to love you, but you are going to pay the price for what you've done wrong.
That's right. That's
it wasn't my sin; it was yours.
Right. Right.
And that doesn't mean I'll quit loving you. I'll still love you, but you're going to pay for your sins, not me.
That's right. You definitely right about that. But I just was making a point on all the children that we're seeing on the news right now, that are deliberately going out and doing damage in our communities and definitely making the police earn their money right now, chasing them all through the community and doing everything that they shouldn't even be doing, because every color we already under fire. And the good thing about this show is every guest is a different color. So we can't just say, oh, this, just a black and it's just this, no. Right. It's a lot of colors under fire right now. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Nationalities. Yep. So I just definitely, like I said, I wanted you to have a platform. And that's why, my producer got in touch with you and said, okay, well, this slot is open and your story does need to be heard. Because when you came in on the last show, we only really got a snippet of what you was going through.
Yes.
But I wanted your full story to be heard, so Mike's story can be heard. And I do want you to tell him, hey, I got much love for him and that I did dedicate this show for you and him to be heard.
Yeah, he actually called like a half hour before the show began, and I told him that, and he was thrilled. He was so happy.
Okay.
And I will let him know again, and we truly appreciate this time slot that you've given us and a voice, letting us have a voice to get our story out there and let people know what's happening.
Yes, ma'am. And you know what? If you definitely get me his information, I'll write him personally. Which anybody that's in prison, if they get me the information, I'll write them personally and keep them up on, what we got going on, and they can let me know what I can do for them. All right?
I definitely will.
Okay, so I want you to stay locked in with us. Don't hang up.
Sure.
All right, everybody, that was Miss MaryAnn, who was definitely telling us about her son's case, Mike, and we wish Mike well. And I want y'all to stay locked in. We got Mr. Jeffrey Deskovic coming in, and he's definitely going to break down everything that we just talked about. Stay locked in, stay tuned in, and remember, life is real. This is Falsely Accused Part 10. I'm the host, Cogee, and we'll be right back.